Good morning, everyone. When I hear the word Belgium, my mind instantly fills with images of beauty, charm, and unforgettable wonders. Belgium may be a small country on the map, but it holds treasures that capture the heart of anyone who visits or even dreams about it. It is a land where history whispers from every corner, where art glows with timeless brilliance, and where culture feels alive in every step. The first wonder that shines in Belgium is its fairy tale architecture. Imagine walking through the cobbled streets of Bruges, surrounded by canals that sparkle like mirrors under the sun. The medieval houses with their pointed roofs and narrow windows look as if they were painted straight out of a storybook. Every turn feels like stepping deeper into a dream, one that you never want to end. And then there is Brussels, the capital city, where the Grand Place stands like a crown jewel. The square dazzles with golden facades, intricate carvings, and a sense of pride that is unmatched. Standing there, it feels as if the buildings are speaking their own language, telling tales of centuries gone by, while still welcoming the present with open arms. Belgium is also a land of artistic wonders. It gave the world some of the most famous painters, whose works still decorate the walls of museums and touch the hearts of millions. Walking into a Belgian art gallery feels like stepping into a sea of colors and emotions, where every brushstroke carries a piece of human soul. But Belgium is not just about sights and art. It is also about flavors that can never be forgotten. The taste of Belgian chocolate melts in the mouth like pure magic. Every piece is crafted with love, carrying not just sweetness, but also tradition. And of course, Belgian waffles are a wonder on their own. Their golden crisp outside and soft fluffy inside make you feel like you are biting into happiness itself. Another wonder lies in Belgium's culture of kindness. People welcome strangers with warm smiles, and there is always a sense of community in the air. Festivals light up the cities with music, laughter, and colors. Whether it is the sound of drums during a parade or the ringing of church bells, Belgium has a way of making everyone feel at home. What fascinates me most is that Belgium is a place where the old and new live together in harmony. The castles and cathedrals stand with grace beside modern designs and lively markets. It feels like a land that respects its roots while embracing the future. That balance is a wonder itself, showing the world that beauty can be both ancient and fresh at the same time. To me, Belgium is more than a country. It is a feeling, a wonderland that teaches us to appreciate history, celebrate art, taste joy, and value togetherness. It is a gentle reminder that sometimes the most magical things are not in the size of a place, but in the depth of its spirit. When I think about the fairy tale cities and architecture of Belgium, my heart feels enchanted in a way that is hard to put into words. There is a charm about Belgian cities that seems to come straight out of a dream, where every corner, every street, and every building carries a sense of timeless wonder. The cobblestone streets in cities like Bruges seem to echo the footsteps of centuries of history, and yet they feel warm and welcoming to anyone who walks upon them. The houses that line the canals look delicate and elegant, with their pointed roofs, stepped gables, and tall, narrow windows. When you walk along those quiet waterways, it almost feels as if you are inside the pages of a storybook, where the setting itself is a character. The way the reflections of those medieval houses fall into the water adds a magical touch, like a painting that has come alive right in front of you. Bruges especially feels like a city that time forgot, a place where the medieval past has been preserved with such love and care that modern life seems to blend with history effortlessly. It is not only Bruges that captures this fairy tale spirit, but also Ghent, with its towering cathedrals and bridges that look like they have been lifted from a romantic painting. The castles that rise from the landscapes of Belgium add to this sense of wonder, their stone walls holding stories of knights, royals, and lives that shaped the country over hundreds of years. These castles do not simply stand as ruins. Many of them are alive with the vibrancy of cultural events, festivals, and exhibitions. The blend of old stone and modern joy creates a unique beauty, one that feels layered and deeply meaningful. As you pass through these cities, you notice how every building seems to tell its own story, from the smallest house with a charming little doorway to the grand halls and guild houses that were once at the heart of Belgium's bustling trade. The Grand Place in Brussels is one of the most iconic pieces of Belgian architecture, and when you stand there, it feels as though the city itself is embracing you with open arms. The square is surrounded by golden facades, intricate carvings, and designs so detailed that you could spend hours just staring at them. It is not just a square, but a living museum of beauty, where history and artistry merge into a single breathtaking sight. When the lights shine on it in the evening, it glows like a jewel, reminding everyone of the pride and skill of Belgian craftsmanship. Standing there makes you feel small, but also inspired, as though you are part of something far greater than yourself, a legacy of creativity that will never fade. Belgium's fairy tale architecture is not only about grandeur, but also about intimacy. Even in small towns, the charm is alive in every little detail. Narrow alleyways decorated with flowers, market squares alive with laughter, and bridges crossing sparkling canals all combine to create a magical atmosphere. It is the way the cities have preserved their old world beauty while still breathing with modern life that makes them so enchanting. You can see bicycles parked against stone walls, street performers adding music to the air, and cozy cafes tucked into historic corners, reminding you that these places are not frozen in time but thriving with energy and warmth. What makes the architecture of Belgium truly unforgettable is the harmony it holds between history and the present. Unlike many places where modernization has overshadowed the past, Belgium has managed to guard its fairy tale essence. Walking through its cities feels like moving between eras, where every step takes you deeper into a world that is both ancient and alive. The cathedrals with their towering spires reaching toward the sky inspire awe and reverence, while the small brick houses lined neatly in rows offer comfort and familiarity. This balance creates a rhythm that feels almost like music, where each building is a note, and together they form a symphony of beauty. The atmosphere of these cities also changes with the seasons, adding new layers to their fairy tale character. In the spring, flowers bloom along the canals, their colors spilling across balconies and windows. In the summer, the streets are alive with festivals, music, and open-air cafes, where people sit together under the glow of lanterns. Autumn brings a golden hue to the stone buildings and falling leaves that decorate the cobbled paths, while winter covers everything in a soft white snow, making the old cities look like magical postcards. Each season transforms the fairy tale scenery, making it impossible to ever see Belgium in just one way. What fascinates me most is how the architecture reflects the soul of Belgium itself. It is not only about beauty, but about resilience, tradition, and pride. Every building, from the smallest chapel to the grandest square, carries the memory of the generations who built it, lived in it, and loved it. When you walk through Belgian cities, you are not only seeing structures, you are stepping into a legacy of dreams, efforts, and imaginations that shaped the land. It feels like the stones themselves are alive, whispering the secrets of the past to anyone willing to listen. The Grand Place in Brussels is often described as the crown jewel of Belgium, and the moment you step into its presence, you immediately understand why. It is not just a square, it is a living masterpiece, an open-air museum of architectural brilliance where history, art, and culture blend together in a breathtaking display. The square is surrounded by elegant guild halls, each adorned with intricate carvings, golden accents, and towering gables that speak of centuries gone by. Walking into the Grand Place feels like entering a stage set where every detail has been carefully crafted to inspire wonder. The harmony of the buildings, their alignment, and their richness make the entire square feel like it belongs in a fairy tale, a place where time itself pauses so that beauty can shine without interruption. The air feels heavy with stories, as if every stone beneath your feet carries the weight of history, and every facade holds a memory of celebrations, markets, and gatherings that once filled the space. The town hall, with its tall spire reaching towards the sky, dominates the square with dignity and grace. Its Gothic design is both grand and delicate, a perfect example of craftsmanship that took years of dedication to complete. The sculptures and figures that decorate its surface seem to come alive under the shifting light, casting shadows that change throughout the day, adding a sense of movement to the stillness of stone. Across from it stands the Maison du Roi, or King's House, which despite its name was never home to royalty, but instead to the administrative heart of the city. Its ornate facade and historical significance remind visitors of the important role Brussels played in the political and cultural life of Europe. Around these great landmarks, the guildhalls stand as silent witnesses to the prosperity of merchants, tradesmen, and artists who once filled the square with their business and creativity. Each building has its own unique identity, with gilded statues, elaborate carvings, and decorative roofs. Yet together they create a harmonious scene that feels almost musical in its rhythm when the light of the sun strikes the golden decorations that crown the buildings. The square glimmers as though it were touched by magic. In the evening, when the square is illuminated, it transforms into a glowing wonder, as if the architecture itself is celebrating its own existence. During festivals, concerts, and cultural events, the Grand Place comes alive with sounds of music, laughter, and joy, carrying forward its legacy as a place where people gather to share in beauty and community. Every 2 years in August, the flower carpet fills the square with a sea of colors and patterns made entirely from fresh blossoms. Standing on the balcony of the town hall and looking down at this floral tapestry is an experience that feels like watching the square bloom into a new life, blending art, nature, and tradition into one spectacle. This tradition, like the square itself, symbolizes Belgium's dedication to preserving beauty and sharing it with the world. The Grand Place is not only a feast for the eyes, but also a testament to resilience. Throughout history, it has endured wars, fires, and destruction, yet it always rose again, restored to its former glory with devotion and pride. Each restoration effort was carried out with such careful respect for authenticity that the square today still reflects the grandeur of its past, earning it recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This resilience is perhaps what makes the Grand Place so powerful. It stands as proof that beauty can withstand the trials of time, that artistry can survive challenges and continue to inspire future generations. Visitors who step into the square often find themselves overwhelmed not only by its appearance, but also by the emotions it stirs. A feeling of connection to something timeless and enduring. The square also reflects the soul of Brussels as a city that embraces diversity and creativity. Street performers add music to the air. Tourists from every corner of the world gather with their cameras, and locals pass by with a sense of familiarity that comes from knowing such greatness belongs to their daily lives. Cafes and restaurants around the edges of the square invite people to sit and enjoy a moment of reflection, where they can sip Belgian coffee or taste rich chocolates while gazing at the architecture that surrounds them. This blending of everyday life with historical splendor creates a unique atmosphere where the extraordinary becomes part of the ordinary. It is this harmony between past and present, between grandeur and simplicity, that makes the Grand Place more than a landmark. It is a place that breathes, that welcomes, and that continues to inspire wonder in every heart that enters it. Belgium is a land that has given the world an artistic heritage of extraordinary richness, and this legacy remains one of its most treasured wonders. The country has been home to some of the greatest painters whose works shaped not only Belgian culture, but also the broader course of European art. The Flemish masters, with their remarkable skill in detail, color, and symbolism, brought to life scenes that continue to captivate the imagination centuries later. Walking into a Belgian museum feels like entering a world where time has been captured on canvas, where emotions have been preserved in oil and pigment, and where stories unfold silently through the brilliance of brushstrokes. The art of Belgium is not confined to one period or one style. It stretches across eras, from medieval panel paintings to surrealist visions of the 20th century, showing the deep creativity that has always existed in this land. The early Flemish painters, such as Jan van Eyck, set a standard realism and technique that influenced generations to come. His mastery of oil painting introduced a depth and luminosity that made figures seem alive, as if they might step out of the frame at any moment. His famous altar pieces and portraits carry an intensity that speaks of both devotion and human complexity. Alongside him, artists like Rogier van der Weyden brought drama and emotion into their religious works, painting faces with expressions so raw that they touch the heart across centuries. Their art was not only a reflection of their faith, but also a mirror of humanity, capturing both sorrow and joy in ways that still resonate deeply today. These masterpieces, often housed in cathedrals or museums, are not just images but windows into the spiritual and cultural soul of their time. As time moved forward, the artistic tradition of Belgium continued to flourish. In the 16th and 17th centuries, the brilliance of Peter Paul Rubens lit up the art world with his dynamic, dramatic style. His canvases overflowed with energy, passion, and grandeur, filled with mythological scenes, religious imagery, and portraits that radiated vitality. Rubens's studio became a center of artistic life, influencing countless painters and leaving behind a legacy that still defines Baroque art today. His work combined strength and sensitivity in a way that feels timeless, and standing before one of his massive canvases creates an overwhelming sense of awe. At the same time, artists like Anthony van Dyck carried this tradition further, excelling in portraiture with elegance and refinement that made him a favorite in royal courts across Europe. The Belgian artistic voice was never limited by borders. It carried itself into the world, shaping tastes and inspiring movements far beyond its homeland. Belgian art is not only about the grand masters of the past, but also about the diversity of styles that continue to grow over the centuries. In the 19th century, artists explored realism and impressionism, capturing the landscapes, daily life, and changing moods of society. Painters such as James Ensor pushed boundaries with bold and often unsettling imagery, blending satire with symbolism in ways that challenged traditional views of art. His works, filled with masks, crowds, and strange figures, revealed the complexity of human existence and the anxieties of his time. Ensor's creativity paved the way for modernist movements, showing how Belgian artists were unafraid to experiment and innovate. The 20th century saw Belgium contribute to the global stage once again through surrealism, with René Magritte becoming one of the most famous figures of the movement. His paintings, with their mysterious juxtapositions and dreamlike qualities, questioned reality itself. Works such as images of men in bowler hats, floating objects, and everyday scenes transformed into puzzles of meaning made him a pioneer of thought-provoking art. Magritte's surrealism did not only belong to galleries, it entered popular culture, influencing film, literature, and even advertising. Through him, Belgium's artistic legacy once more reached into the hearts and minds of people worldwide, showing that the country's contribution to creativity was not bound by time or style. The richness of Belgian art is also preserved and celebrated in its museums, which stand as guardians of this Incredible heritage, the Royal Museums of Fine Arts in Brussels, the Groningen Museum in Bruges, and countless other institutions house collections that span centuries, offering visitors a journey through the soul of Belgian creativity. Each painting, each sculpture, and each artifact speaks of the imagination that has always flourished in this land. Walking through these halls, one can feel the continuity of artistry, from the delicate strokes of medieval masters to the bold experiments of modern innovators. The sense of pride and reverence for this heritage is strong, and it is shared not only by Belgians but also by all who come to admire these treasures. Art in Belgium is not confined to galleries or museums. It is visible in the very streets and public spaces, where sculptures, murals, and architectural designs carry forward the same spirit of creativity. Even comic art, with Belgium being the birthplace of characters like Tintin, has become part of the cultural landscape, showing that artistic expression here takes many forms and reaches all generations. This blending of high art with popular culture reflects the openness and diversity of Belgium's artistic identity, making it accessible and alive in everyday life. Belgium is often called the land of irresistible delights, and among its greatest wonders are the tastes that have captured the heart of people all over the world. The very mention of Belgian chocolate and waffles instantly creates a sense of joy, as if one is already savoring their sweetness in memory. These foods are not simply treats. They are traditions, symbols of care, and expressions of creativity that have been perfected over generations. To understand Belgian chocolate is to step into a world where craftsmanship and passion meet. Each piece is made with such precision that it feels like a small jewel, crafted not only for the palate but also for the soul. The chocolatiers of Belgium are artists in their own right, using cocoa as their paint and flavor as their canvas. The result is a delicacy that melts smoothly, leaving behind layers of richness that linger long after the first bite. There is something magical about how chocolate here can be both delicate and bold, both comforting and luxurious, all at once. Walking through the streets of Brussels or Bruges, it is impossible to miss the inviting aroma that drifts from chocolate shops. The displays look like treasure chests filled with pralines, truffles, and bars of every variety. The glass cases shine with creations too beautiful to eat, yet impossible to resist. Each chocolatier adds a personal touch, offering flavors that surprise and delight: hazel, nut, caramel, coffee, fruit, and even unexpected spices that transform a simple bite into an unforgettable experience. The tradition of Belgian chocolate is deeply rooted in history, with recipes that have been passed down through families, each generation adding its own refinement. This heritage is not only preserved but celebrated, with festivals, tours, and museums dedicated to chocolate, reminding everyone that it is more than food. It is culture, pride, and love shared through sweetness. Just as chocolate carries its own wonder, Belgian waffles hold a place that is equally magical, golden, warm, and inviting. They are not just breakfast items, but symbols of comfort and joy. The first sight of a waffle stand fills the heart with excitement, the sound of batter sizzling on hot irons adding to the anticipation. The crisp outer layer gives way to a soft, fluffy center that feels like a cloud dissolving with each bite. There are different varieties, each with its own character. The Brussels waffle, light and airy, often dusted with powdered sugar or topped with cream and fruit, and the Liege waffle, richer and denser, its caramelized sugar pearls creating a delightful crunch that surprises the tongue. Each one tells its own story, yet both are equally enchanting, carrying with them the essence of Belgian tradition. Waffles in Belgium are not just eaten, they are experienced. They are enjoyed in bustling markets, at lively festivals, and on quiet mornings in cozy cafes. Watching them being made fresh before your eyes adds to the sense of wonder. The batter poured and pressed, then lifted to reveal a golden pattern of squares ready to be adorned with toppings. Strawberries, chocolate drizzle, whipped cream, or sometimes just a sprinkle of sugar. Each topping adds its own layer of happiness, yet the waffle itself always shines at the heart of it. This is the charm of Belgian food. It takes something simple and makes it extraordinary, turning an everyday moment into a celebration of flavor. What makes these culinary wonders so special is the way they connect people. Sharing a box of chocolates with friends or enjoying waffles with loved ones becomes more than eating. It becomes a memory, a bond created through taste. These foods carry with them the warmth of hospitality and the joy of togetherness. They remind us that sweetness is not only something to savor on the tongue, but also something that can live in the heart. Belgian food culture invites everyone to slow down, to appreciate the artistry in what they eat, and to find happiness in the smallest pleasures. It teaches that food is not just nourishment, but a story, a tradition, and a way of life even for those who have never set foot in Belgium. The fame of its chocolate and waffles has traveled the world, bringing a piece of the country to faraway places. Yet nothing compares to tasting them in their homeland, surrounded by the charm of Belgian streets, the laughter of markets, and the warmth of local pride. To hold a freshly made waffle wrapped in paper while strolling through a medieval square, or to taste a piece of chocolate crafted with devotion by a local chocolatier, is to understand why these flavors are counted among the wonders of Belgium. They are treasures that embody the spirit of a nation, blending tradition with creativity, simplicity with elegance, and sweetness with meaning. Belgium holds within it a culture that is as warm and welcoming as its landscapes and cities, and this spirit is one of the true wonders of the country. The people carry with them a kindness that makes visitors feel instantly at home, and there is a natural friendliness in the way they greet strangers and share their traditions. Walking through Belgian towns, one can see how community life is woven into the rhythm of daily activities, with market squares alive with conversation, families gathering in cafes, and neighbors exchanging smiles as they go about their routines. This warmth is reflected in the way Belgium values togetherness, making festivals, celebrations, and shared moments such an important part of its identity. The culture is not only about history and art, but also about living life with joy, and that joy is shared openly with everyone who enters its embrace. Festivals are among the brightest expressions of Belgian culture, each one bringing with it a sense of color, music, and unity. The Carnival of Binche, recognized by UNESCO, is one of the most famous, where masked performers known as Gilles parade through the streets in elaborate costumes, throwing oranges to the crowd as a symbol of good luck. The atmosphere during such events is electric, filled with laughter, music, and the energy of centuries, old traditions still thriving in the modern world. In Ghent, the Gentse fills the city with 10 days of music, street theater, and celebration, turning every corner into a stage and every street into a gathering place. These festivals show not only the creativity of the people, but also their love for community, for sharing happiness, and for bringing everyone together under the banner of celebration. Music plays a central role in Belgium's cultural heartbeat. From classical composers who shaped the history of European music to modern day festivals that attract thousands from around the world, Belgium has always been a place where melodies thrive. The Tomorrowland Festival, for example, has become one of the most renowned electronic music gatherings, drawing young people from every continent to experience a celebration of sound and light unlike any other. Yet even in small towns, local bands and choirs perform with the same passion, reminding everyone that music here is not only about fame, but also about the shared joy of expression. Whether it is traditional folk tunes or the latest international hits, Belgium uses music as a way to connect, to celebrate, and to carry forward its spirit of togetherness. The Belgian sense of culture is also reflected in its respect for tradition and history while embracing modern life with enthusiasm. The architecture tells one part of the story, but the way people continue to use those historic spaces for everyday life tells another. Medieval squares are not left behind as monuments. They are still the beating hearts of cities where markets take place, where people gather for meals, and where celebrations unfold. This blending of old and new creates an atmosphere that feels both rooted and alive, showing how Belgium holds on to its past while also welcoming the future. It is in this harmony that the culture feels so unique, because it proves that heritage and progress can exist side by side without losing balance. Food and drink are another layer of Belgium's cultural wonder, not just for their taste, but for the way they bring people together. Sharing a plate of fries with friends in the square, tasting local beers that carry centuries of brewing tradition, or enjoying family recipes passed down through generations are all ways that culture is lived daily. These moments are about more than flavor. They are about connection, about gathering at the table and finding joy in each other's company. In this way, Belgian cuisine is part of the culture of kindness, offering comfort and celebration in equal measure. The pride Belgians take in their food and drink reflects their deeper pride in community and hospitality. Perhaps what stands out most in Belgium's culture is its diversity. The country is home to multiple languages, traditions, and influences, yet it manages to weave them together into a single identity. French, Dutch, and German are spoken across different regions, but rather than creating distance, these languages enrich the cultural landscape, giving Belgium a richness of expression that is rare. This diversity is also celebrated in art, festivals, and daily life, where influences mix to create something new while still respecting what came before. The ability to live in harmony with differences is one of the strongest aspects of Belgian culture, showing the world that unity does not mean sameness, but rather the celebration of variety within a shared spirit. This cultural wonder is not limited to grand events or historical traditions, but can also be found in the smallest gestures: a smile from a shopkeeper, children playing in cobblestone alleys, the ringing of church bells marking the passage of time, or the sound of bicycles rolling through the streets all add to the sense of life that defines Belgium. These small details, combined with the larger celebrations, create a picture of a nation where culture is not just preserved in books or museums, but lived every day by its people in their own natural way.